and get him ready with whatever you would use to lunge him. The halter is a little bit big for him. If we're talking restraining him, you know, which is what we are talking, you're saying he runs away from you, so you need to be a little stronger. So the first thing we would do is we would see if we could make this fit a little better, a little more snug to his head, which I think we can do. Now this, if he was to get away from you and put his head, or even on the lunge and put his head down, this chain loops exactly the right size for his foot. So if he put his nose down like this, he could step through that. And if he did that, he would injure himself very badly. So never do the loop that big. If you want to loop the lunge line, you attach it to the chain itself and you make a loop that's small enough so that his foot couldn't fit through it. I would actually put the chain, we may see some of this behavior yet. I would put the chain over his nose like this, okay? So you see what I did there? Yep. Is I put the chain through, over, under, here. And attach, okay? And the reason I do that is because if he does pull against that chain hard, it's not going to cut his nose, right? But it gives you some extra strength. The other thing is this is a thin nylon line. And if this goes through your hand quickly, it's going to burn your hands. And a couple of times I saw you had this line wrapped like that. If he was to pull away, he could break your arm. Okay? So these are just basic lunging techniques that are especially important with a horse that doesn't behave. Now he so far has behaved perfectly, so you got away with everything, right? But if he had decided to do any of the things that you said he does, you would have either ended up with a burnt hand, he could have ended up with his foot through the loop, you could have ended up with a wrecked hand if it had been around a little more. So all those things are really important. You need gloves. So today we will try that snaffle that you have. And I'm going to show you a couple of lunging techniques with the snaffle that will help him to respect the bit, but also to accept. I'm going to show you a little trick. We're going to undo the throat latch. That's it. And we're going to put the throat latch right through this loop that I'm making here. And this will hold the reins out of the way while we lunge. Okay? Now we're going to take the lunge line. Now you notice that I have a lunge line that has no chain on the end. Okay? And it's cotton and it's thick. Alright?
And the gloves.
Yes, and the gloves. I'm going to put this over his head. That's it. And then it's going to attach to the bit on the other side. Okay. So now he pulls away from me. Not only is the bit going to pull towards me, but it's going to put pressures directly up here and on his pull.
See, I'd never understood why sometimes you would see trainers that would go up and over. I never understood the whole reasoning behind it.
Okay, so right ahead he went and trotted. And that's fine. I haven't given him any commands. Maybe he's got a little extra energy. He's figuring the whip out. Boy. So he settled down to a walk pretty darn quick.
when you say pulling against it, does that mean like, is he trying to brace himself against it, or is he just testing it?
He doesn't want to go around quite such a small circle.
Okay.
So he's pulling out against it. Okay, so there's where I don't like them to turn in. Okay?
Right.
Because what happened there is he decided he'd trotted enough on this small circle.
Right.
And as soon as he's turned in, I have no control of the lunge line. All I can do is go back out. And it's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I don't like to encourage it. I don't like to reward that because it gets interesting. So, what I'm doing is I'm putting a little pressure on him because we didn't really do that yesterday.
Right.
And today we need to start getting into what his problems are a little more.
Okay.
So now that he got turned in and that gave him a little break, now I'm really watching him. I'm going to try and avoid having him turn in again. So do you see what I did there?
Yep.
Okay, so you see there, I got him to stop without turning in. All right? So that time he turned towards me, and he wasn't being naughty. Okay, so here we have him, he's not understanding me, okay? And that's exactly the situation where when you're out on the trail and he runs away, that's exactly the situation. He doesn't understand, he gets afraid, and runs, okay? So, first of all, this setup with the lunge line over his head meant that I could hold on to him and stop him from running, okay? So that's number one. Number two, I want to make sure that he understands there's nothing to be afraid of. So I'm just going to quietly go back, keeping the lunge line out of the way. And I'm going to push him back out again. And we're just going to quietly start over. No big deal. Okay, so we're getting there again. I started walking towards him. Oh, there it is. That time it was easier to hold on to him. So what's happening here, you see, is I'm teaching him something new. Teaching him to stay out there instead of turn in towards me. So that's challenging him. He's saying, well, this is how I do it. And I'm saying, I want you to do it another way. And he's saying, forget that, I'm running away. But he couldn't run very far because I have this setup. This stops him without hurting him. Okay, so now he's making little movements with his lips. His head has dropped down. He's saying, is this really all you want me to do? Okay, I guess I can do it. Right? And I'm going to walk towards him gently again. My plan is that instead of going faster when I walk towards him, which is what he just did, my aim is for him to go more slowly when I walk towards him. Okay, that was better. That was the first time he stopped with me in what he considers to be his space. Right? Right. So he's giving in. He doesn't like it, but he is. You can tell he doesn't like it right now. His head's up a little bit, his ears are half back, he looks kind of grumpy. But it's better. It's much better than trying to run away. What I have to be careful about